Chapter 1. Ah! Harry bolted right up. His bedsheet was soaked with sweat. The hallway light shone weakly through his prison bars, casting black stripes across the cell. He blinked once, twice. I was dreaming, he said to himself. The reality came flooding back. He and Marv hadn't escaped the police car. They'd gone to jail. It had been a whole year since that night at the McCallisters. A whole year since the kid had foiled their robbery. A whole year of terrible food, stinking jail cells, and bad dreams. He stood up and clutched his cell bars with frustration. Down the hall in another cell, Marv awoke with a start. His eyes were wide with terror. Shaking, he walked over to his sleeping cellmate's bed. I just had a bad dream, Marv said. Would you mind if I crawled in with you? Without a word, Marv's cellmate sat up, his eyes bloodshot, and his teeth clenched with rage. The bed creaked under his 200 pounds. With a growl, he picked Marv up and hurled him against the wall. Harry winced at the sound of Marv thudding against the wall. That rotten kid was still giving both of them nightmares. Peering angrily into the dusty dimness of the prison hallway, Harry muttered, "If I ever see that kid again, he's history." Fat chance he would ever see that kid again, though. If he and Marv ever escaped, they'd skip the country. They'd leave Chicago far behind. But still, you never knew. Chapter 2. It was a typical 3 days before Christmas at the McCallister house. Lots of food, a couple of presents already under the tree, everybody feeling pressure, a fire in the fireplace, and one other crucial ingredient: chaos. McCallisters, young and old, screamed, yelled, joked, whined, yawned, burped, complained, laughed, and ran up and down the stairs. In the McCallister house, every creature was stirring. Every creature, that is, except for Kevin. Upstairs, Kevin was taking a break. He stretched himself out on his parents' bed and tuned out. Tuned out the noise from the house, tuned out the sound of his parents' bedroom TV set. He was used to the noise by now. At 10 years old, he was the youngest in the house, so it had been like this his whole life. Okay, so suddenly he's 10 years old a year later when he was 7 before? Okay, book. Doesn't make sense, but okay. That night was worse than most, though. In a little while, they were all going to the big Christmas pageant at school. The next morning, they were all going to leave for the annual McCallister Christmas trip. This year, they were going to Miami, Florida. Sunny, warm, boring. Kevin sighed. Who wanted to go to Florida for Christmas? There was no snow there. What did they do? String Christmas lights on palm trees? That was the worst part. As far as Kevin was concerned, it wasn't Christmas without a real-life Christmas tree, with lots of lights and ornaments and tinsel. Preferably one that stunk up the house with pine. That was one thing that made him feel tingly and warm during the season. Well, that and hot chocolate. Otherwise, Christmas mostly meant yelling and fighting and asking dumb questions. One thing was for sure, though. On a crazy night like this, you didn't complain. It was best to just get out of the way. Kevin was already packed for the trip and dressed for the concert. While everyone else was going nuts, he had plenty of time to test his new talkboy. There was no end to what you could do with it. For instance, you could record family members saying stupid things, then play it back later to embarrass them. That was always good for a chuckle. And there were plenty of family members to record, saying plenty of stupid things. Kevin had 2 brothers, Buzz and Jeff, and 2 sisters, Megan and Linny. But that wasn't all. His Uncle Frank and Aunt Leslie were visiting with their kids, Fuller, Brooke, Tracy, and Sandra. His cousin Rod, who lived with Uncle Frank and Aunt Leslie, was there too. Add Kevin's parents, Peter and Kate McCallister, and you got 14 McCallisters in one house. No wonder it was so loud. Has anybody seen my sunblock? His cousin Tracy screeched as she barreled down the stairs. What's the point of going to Florida if you're going to put on sunblock? Answered Sandra as she barreled up the stairs. I don't care if I age like an old suitcase. I'm getting toasted. That was Megan. She was going downstairs. So you'll be a sag with a slightly darker shade of tan. Typical wit and wisdom from Buzz, going up. He's jealous because he doesn't get tan. His freckles just connect, Linny speaking. Kevin's mom bustled into the bedroom and put some of her clothes into an open suitcase. Honey, are you packed? She asked, walking into the bathroom. Yes, Kevin said softly to his talkboy. He quickly rewound and played back on high volume. Yes, the talkboy replied. All the stuff I put out for you? She called. Kevin rewound and played again. Yes. Mrs. McCallister came out of the bathroom holding a small bag full of toiletries. Did you see what Grandma Penelope sent you for the trip? Let me guess. Kevin tried to think of the most babyish toy possible. Grandma Penelope seemed to think he was still 3. Donald Duck slippers? Kevin's mom pulled a small plastic container out of the suitcase. Bongo the Clown, its label said. And it's an inflatable clown to play with in the pool. Well, I thought it was Bozo, but okay. Kevin rolled his eyes in disgust. He caught a glimpse of the TV set at the foot of the bed. A game show host was gabbing away. Thanks for joining us on the new celebrity Ding Dang Dong. Good night. Then an image of a big hotel came on, with flags flying over the doors, limos parked in front, and towers rising from the roof. An announcer's voice said, Guests of the new celebrity Ding Dang Dong stay at the world-renowned Plaza Hotel, New York's most exciting hotel experience. For reservations, call toll-free 1-800-759-3000. Ding-a-ling-a-ling. Kevin recognized that sound. It was a small bell the McCallisters took out for Christmas every year. For as long as Kevin could remember, his mom would use it to wake up the family on Christmas morning and to summon them for dinner. It went with them whenever they took a Christmas trip. Can't forget this, his mom said, putting it in the suitcase. Kevin smiled. The bell was another thing he liked about Christmas. Honey, Mr. McCallister said, rushing into the room. Where's the camcorder battery? It's in the charger by the nightstand, Mrs. McCallister replied. And don't just pack the battery this time. Take the charger, too. We'll need it. Mr. McCallister reached underneath the nightstand. The charger was plugged into a 3-outlet attachment, which he pulled out of the wall. He didn't realize what was attached to the other 2 plugs, the digital alarm clock and the digital clock radio. Silently, they both went blank. As Mr. McCallister pulled the charger's plug out of the attachment, he looked at Kevin. You better get your tie on, son, he said. My tie's in my room and I can't go in there, Kevin replied. Uncle Frank is taking a shower in the kids' bathroom. He doesn't want me to walk in and see him. Your bedroom is attached to the bathroom. It's not in the bathroom, Mr. McCallister said, plugging the 3-outlet attachment back into the wall. Just run in and get your tie. Uncle Frank won't even know. All right, Kevin said. Clutching his talk boy, he got off the bed and headed into the upstairs hallway. Mr. McCallister rushed around to finish packing. Mrs. McCallister freshened her makeup in the mirror. Everyone was in a mad rush. Too rushed to notice the small, dull gray readouts on the clock and the radio flashing over and over. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stop there, and I hope you guys will join me for the next reading.